top story, nuke fear. Feds order 14 million dosages of potassium iodine. The way I read the FedBiz site, it's actually 14 million packages of it. But the point is this is the biggest order ever. It was like 8 million they ordered back during the last Fukushima. This is huge. And we've been telling you, it's the extraction of the rods, the cleanup, which the Japanese news admits is being carried out by the mafia over there. They're using homeless people basically below minimum wage is like death commandos to go in. That was in Reuters a few days ago. This is incredible that this is happening, and we're here to break it down. Now, Gucciardi's also put not just Watson's report up, but he has also done another report that just went out in the last hour to Infowars.com. Is the government stockpiling iodine in prevention for Fukushima meltdown? Do flies follow Obama everywhere, like he's Satan incarnate, or conversely, a pile of pig crap? Yes, we know the answer. Excuse me, I just got to say it. I mean, he may not be the devil. He may just smell like what flies like. Flies never land on me. Hardly ever, unless there's a horsefly trying to bite me in the woods or something. I mean, they're just constantly coming out of his mouth, spontaneously generating out of his toot or whatever's happening. But U.S. government orders 14 million dosages of potassium iodide. There's the headline. And so I wanted to get Anthony Gucciardi's take on this because he was the one talking about it yesterday. And I noticed Watson also must have found it in the FedBiz site from one of our tipsters. Listeners sent it to us in email. So we're breaking that at Infowars.com right now. But, Anthony, this is what we've been concerned about with that radioactive wave coming in, all of it. And, of course, you've got the head of the Young Turks saying when he was at MSNBC, the last straw was, they said, look, don't have reporters there. Run away from it. It's really horrible, super high radiation, but we're not going to tell the public that. And, of course, the prevailing winds and the ocean all comes our way. So, again, I personally am concerned about this, and I'm not on the West Coast. Radiation's gone up some here. Now, I think Ann Coulter should move to live in Fukushima. She says it's a good deal, literally. And, that's her First Amendment. I don't agree with that. But what is your breakdown of this serious development? What do you think they're doing it for? All the reactors that are 40 years old here that are rotting, they're going to keep going, violating federal law? The other reactors or the missing nuclear weapons? What do you think's going on here, Anthony Gucciardi?
This is the same government, we have to remember, that raised the allowable radiation limits in our food, turned off the radiation counters on the West Coast, and silently have been preparing for Fukushima for a while because their experts tell them, yeah, Fukushima, the key thing is the extraction of these rods. Even the conservative professors from Yale University and others are saying, yeah, the extraction of these rods could lead to, quote-unquote, Fukushima forever, changing the world, completely devastating Japan. But we can go back now and look at this reality that it was at this around the same time. They've started to take the rods out now. The government knows this. The federal analysts who look at this say, yeah, this is the key thing. This is the #1 issue.
Because if they touch.
Because if they touch, basically the whole plant will blow up. There will be a meltdown.
And there's tons of these things.
Yeah.
And they have homeless people. Can you guys pull up the image of the homeless guy they've got doing the work? I mean, I'm not putting the homeless guy down, but he looks like, he has a couple cups of sake a day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Human error is just to begin with. But look at this.
I think it was Business Insider had the photo, but go ahead.
1,535 rods they have to extract. That's 1,535 instances of a potential catastrophe that could melt down Fukushima, evacuate Japan, completely obliterate the West Coast with fallout. And that's the conservative Yale professor on Huffington Post. David Suzuki, who, has read about some things wrong.
Civilization ending in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, he's saying basically Japan would be wiped out. Bye-bye Japan. West Coast would have to immediately evacuate.
That's the quote. Bye-bye Japan.
Yeah, exact quote. Bye-bye Japan. It would be completely obliterated, and then we'd have to evacuate here in the United States in many areas, and the food supply would be completely tarnished. But the thing is here, they're ordering, it is 14 million tablets, so you could say packages of doses or whatever. 14 million tablets of this potassium iodide, which I believe, and the experts...
So it's tablets, not packages.
That's the low-quality garbage iodine that,
Well, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, it's better than nothing, but you take it in an emergency. But anyway, the key thing here is the iodine manufacturers, they all know that Fukushima is probably going to melt down because they have homeless people going in, working on these rods, extractions...
That's right. That's why we've had everybody in the world trying to call to buy our raw... crystals that we have stockpiled.
A form of elemental.
Yeah.
You can't even hardly get that anymore. and I was talking to some manufacturers. They've increased it like 2,000% over the last several years, and it's going up more and more with Fukushima and everything like that. In 2011, now it's just extrapolating over and over again. The government is undoubtedly 100% preparing for the meltdown of Fukushima with this purchase. Specifically, the 14 million doses may be just for the West Coast, and then you could get into the reality that they're also buying it because they know the prices.
And by the way, that on screen is the small explosion. Show the Mach 3 reactor, where it's a big 3,000-foot tall mushroom cloud. Or just look at mushroom cloud Fukushima, and that'll give it to you guys. You'll see it. It's 3 times the size of that.
Yeah, that was all downplayed anyway. It was over 2 times the amount of radiation.
No, it's good for you. Yeah, there it is. That's good for you.
We should actually make Ann Coulter radiation pills just bottled at the source from Fukushima, like spring water, except for...
We should do a joke video. I've said a parody on that. Now available, Ann Coulter Fukushima pills.
Mm-hmm.
And then show a clip of her saying it's good for you and go, that's right. Now you can enjoy brain damage, kidney failure, cancers, and infertility.
Bottled it.
There's nothing like your teeth falling out and your fast-growing cells all dying. Do you like your guts liquefying and blood pouring out of your body? Well, then Ann Coulter radiation pills are for you.
Well, you know, it's good news for her because they did dump, I think, 73% of all of the radiation, the cesium, into the Pacific Ocean when they couldn't handle it anymore. So thankfully, we do have radiation constantly attacking us through the food supply and through the ocean on a consistent 24/7 basis. That's the other point, too, here, is that silently they're preparing. A real government would tell its people, tell its citizens what's going on and order them to prepare themselves.
The Russians did when Chernobyl blew up. They said take iodine and also Prussian blue, which we can't get here, that also takes it out. People know that as the color, but it's a mineral, I guess, that's really good. We've been looking into that. But the whole point is that my wife lived in Europe. Her dad was a diplomat with the agriculture department during that, and for about 6 months, they had to have frozen food flown in from the U.S. and Asia. They had to have powdered milk, no more milk, because that it bioaccumulates in the cow's milk, because it was hitting the crops. Italy, Germany, France, Russia, they wouldn't eat their food for at least 6 months. And the UN says over 1 million deaths in the aggregate since '86 from Fukushima in the last 20-something years. But meanwhile, they will not even tell us.
We are literally still importing fish from Japan and eating them right here in Texas. And it's sold as a delicacy.
Why are you racist against Japanese?
I'm obviously very racist because I don't like radiation.
I'm not going to look at what you just said. I'm just going to call you racist.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You shouldn't look at these quotes where he says, much more serious is the danger of the spent fuel rod pool. This is a Yale University professor where he says 35 rods, safely transport them to the common storage pool. Then you have 50 meters to go, and then it's 6,375 other rods. And if they blow up, then it will be, he said, they would fission, and all of humanity will be threatened for thousands of years. That's okay, though. He's obviously racist. And he says they're completely uncontrollable. You know, we have homeless people doing it who are paid like $3 a year. And the Unit 4 pool is completely destroyed. Everything about this is red alert level.
And the whole place, what's that hydrology term, where it's all turning into a swamp and sponging because they're having to keep dumping water on it?
Yeah, we've talked about that before. I forget the term. We always try and bring it up, but it is actually key. This whole thing is just riddled with error. I
mean, I'm actually looking at Southern Hemisphere over the radiation because you can't fight that. I mean, if it gets high enough, I will leave. And I guess I'll take some of the crew with me or something. I mean, this is that serious.
That is actually the only answer at that point. I mean, you can protect yourself with some iodine, things like that, but if it actually completely blows sky high, even the experts say...
Well, that's why we know radiation at this level lowers immunity. That's why they're having huge flu and cold deaths in Japan, tens of thousands, kids dropping dead on playgrounds because they'll have cardiac arrest from it. This is all admitted to cover up, and we've been getting hit with radiation. We're eating it, and you're seeing record deaths from bacteria and stuff. I mean, this is already hammering.
And real hot particles in California as far as Boston, too. Hot particles. You know, you inhale that, you're essentially dead. I mean, this is massive level. They were saying on some reports that it's worse than Chernobyl.
Oh, it's many times worse than Chernobyl.
Yeah, but that's an understatement. Yeah, exactly. That's an understatement because Chernobyl, not to mention, was just a one-time event. This could go on for thousands of years.
It was one reactor that blew up, not 5 that all partially blew, that are continuing to blow. You know, they're still picking up weird isotopes that show stuff's going on.
And we trust TEPCO, which has been unveiled to be like run by the mafia, and they're telling us how great everything is hiring homeless people. That doesn't sound very good. They're taping up things. Nuclear fission technology, they're just using duct tape.
you know, I'm not for like global government type stuff, but this should be like the U.S. Of course, we're leading the evil instead, or the UN or NATO or whoever. It should be. They already had Navy ships there. They're all getting cancer, suing over that. But I mean, this should be 100,000 people there volunteering. You know, every month, top scientists, people in lead-lined suits, coming up with the best plans. It should be a Manhattan-level project to clean this up. Instead, they just don't care.
The Nuclear Commission did raise it to the highest level recently. The issue is that...
I think they created a new level.
Yes, and the issue is that no one is doing anything about it. The governments are just sitting back in the United States.
This is the highest level nuclear emergency.
Yep.
And now they were saying, last time I saw a few weeks ago, they may create a new level.
Yeah, exactly. This is beyond anything else. And we're just sitting here, bread and circus level, doing nothing about it. The government's not telling us anything. Meanwhile...
It's like a T6 tornado.
Yeah, this is the collapse of the Roman Empire, basically. And we're just sitting here doing nothing. And they're buying 14 million...
Well, you know, the Romans in 410, when Alaric was like 50 miles away, the Visigoth chieftain out of Germany, and was burning